Hi everyone, it's Anisha Grassi and Maurice Lee here with Dropship Evolution, and we are here today to talk about finding profitable items to sell. Um, Basically, we've launched a profit skew, which is going to change the game for all e-commerce sellers. Can you hear me and see my screen good?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
If you all can hear before we dive deeper into this, let us know in the chat whether you can hear her clearly or not.
You said I can hear?
I'm still looking, and I can hear me. Talking.
You gotta pause the video. All right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. So who are we? My name is Anisha Grassi. I am a dropshipper, internet marketer, e-commerce coach. I've been doing this for approximately, I don't know, 3-4 years. Retired myself out of work back in January 2015, and there's no turning back. And basically, I'm here to serve the e-commerce community. Saw a lot of gaps in knowledge and training that people had, and I just sought ways to bring about solutions to the problems. And Maurice and I had met almost 2 years back, and we had the same mentality and the same goals. So we just partnered up together, and the rest is just in history.
Yes. For those of you who do not know me, again, as Amisha said, my name is Maurice, actually Maurice Lee, and I have been drop shipping now for approximately 3 years. Just as Amisha, when I first started off drop shipping, like most of you, it was something very exciting. And then when I got deeper into the business, I found out that there were some things that were not taught to me. And I had I developed a great desire to help myself first and then to help others. And just by chance, being in the right place at the right time and trying to connect with the right people, me and Amisha ran into one another, as she said, and found out that we shared the same passion for this particular business model, and truly and sincerely wanted to help others. So we decided that, we would partner up and establish a business relationship based upon a few core principles that we wanted to contribute to the community. And one in particular that we both shared was derived from something that Amisha said when we first linked up. She said she wanted to be the sponsor that she never had. Of course, sponsoring is most of the time associated with MLM, but at the same time, we wanted to be coaches and facilitators that we never had. So this started our journey, and 2 years later, we're still on it and trying to find solutions for the whole of the community.
Absolutely. And it's been a journey. While we were on our journey, we discovered some common issues that all dropshippers, whether it's eBay or Amazon, face. The first was tracking and repricing your items. We were able to, list the items. We had training so that we knew how to list the items. But as we tried to scale for our businesses, it was hard to keep track of the stock changes, the price changes, etc. We also, and then once we found a solution for tracking and repricing, which was Skew, I stumbled upon that back in, I believe it was August 2015, maybe. I stumbled upon Skew and then I loved it. So I talked to Maurice about it. He joined in, and then we kind of did. I don't want to call it a massive launch, but we introduced it to the drop shipping community, and it hit growth on a massive scale. Once we were tracking and repricing items, we had that issue under control. The next problem that we were facing was listing the items. Okay, yeah, we can track and reprice them, but now how do we scale up our business even further? So at that point, while I was in my secret account, literally, I looked at the top right-hand corner of my screen and I saw a button that said lister. It was quite funny. So I just clicked on it and I said, hey, if I love the tracker and repricer, because mind you, I had tried everything in the world at this point. All of the other solutions had failed me or didn't do enough of what I needed them to do. But I said, if I love Skew, I'm sure that I'll love whatever lister that they put out. So I clicked on the link, and it was to Hydra Lister. So I was Hydra Lister's first paid customer on the day that it was released, before anyone knew it was released. So that's kind of how that relationship had gotten started. And so again, we introduced that to the dropshipping community. So now that we were tracking and repricing our items, and we were listing our items successfully, we were able to scale up our businesses and had started to do a lot better. The next issue that we had at that point was lack of or improper training. I know myself and I know Maurice, we had always talked amongst ourselves, but we had felt that there were some things that we were taught and told to do that didn't click with us. It didn't sit well with us. We thought certain things didn't make sense. So we ventured out, did case studies on our own, and came up with our own training. And that's how Dropship Evolution was born, to solve that problem. So now it's a situation of you have training, you have a lister, you have a tracker and repricer. What's next? How do we scale? Well, everybody, regardless of where they're trained and regardless of what tracking and listing tools they have, they still struggle with finding profitable items to sell. And that is the solution that we are going to introduce today.
Amisha, before you move on, I wanted to say something in regards to this. As we continue this webinar and move into the demonstration, which I know everyone is actually waiting to see. One thing I want to add to this is that at the end of this, you will see that we are truly seeking out solutions to the problems that dropshippers face. And we are but we are going to meet them head on and then pass that on to the community as a whole. As she said about the lack of training or improper training. We always felt that it was more to it than what we were being taught. And as we continue to grow in our business and got away from just thinking, for example, that if you were able to list 1,000 items, like your life would automatically be changed, regardless of anything else. Many people were led to believe that just basically putting up a large amount or a large number of items would solve your financial problems. And as we continue to grow and search, we saw that that was not the truth. And these tools that we have before us right now is actually a good indication that we are solving those problems, every aspect of it, because in actuality, it's going to take all of this to really establish a proper eBay business for a lot of people. Some people may have been fortunate enough to do it without this, but to us, all of these need to be in the equation for you to successfully establish an eBay business. So throughout this demonstration, you're going to see how we are putting the pieces together, because there's even more that we can't reveal now, because we don't have the authority to do that. But just think about any problem that you have ever experienced in your dropshipping career. 9 times out of 10, the creators and founder of Skew and Hydrolista they're already working on it. Trust me. And this is one of the things that allowed us to build a solid relationship with the owners and the developers, the main developers of these tools, is because they share the same passion and the same concern for the community that we have. And a lot of the thoughts that Amisha and I had, they were already putting these into their physical form, so to speak. And it just caused us to gel. So not to be long-winded, but for those of you who thought having something to list, 2,000 items would have solved your problem, and you saw that that was not the case, you're in the right place now. For those of you who thought that your business was failing because you did not have a tracking system, and now you have a tracking system and you still see that your business is failing, you're in the right place. For those of you who have been taught things like, for example, most of us have been taught to stay away from electronics, and people just accept that. But Amisha and I always thought to ourselves that we would ask the question why, because we see every day on eBay other sellers are crushing it with electronics, and this is one of the biggest categories e-com website or just about any store. Electronics, sells a lot year round. So let's find out why we shouldn't, and then weigh out our options. But again, like we do not accept someone just telling us, that you should not do this, because a lot of it is actually hindering us all from profiting the way that we want to. But again, the training, you thought that if you had this training from some guru, I'm not going to call no types of names or company or nothing like that, because there's no need. But some people think because they linked up with a certain person or certain people, that alone was going to make them, rich. And you find out that that wasn't the truth. Mm-hmm. So it takes all of this, and the makers of these tools understand this fact and work hard every day to bring about, the tools that we need to really crush it on a massive scale as a community.
Absolutely. And as far as product research goes, I will tell you about myself. I really hate product research. I just didn't do it. For the longest time, I was taught, about I guess what most people refer to as the spidering method. And I could never do it. It actually crippled me in my drop shipping business. When I first started, I would get in this continuous loop of trying to find sellers and trying to find items, and I overthought the process. I'm very smart, but also very analytical. So that process to me was difficult. So I tend not to do product research, but now that we have Profit Skew in place, it takes that guesswork out for me, and I don't have to worry about finding items that will sell, and I don't have to worry about spending the time and the hours trying to source items. And for those of you also who are larger scale drop shippers who have virtual assistants, I'll also show you how this tool will be very valuable. And if you actually have all three of these tools in combination, you can actually increase your ROI, even while still paying for a virtual assistant. Now the job really is sourcing the products, and you can just have them listed and tracked automatically. So without further ado, we'll get into the demonstration, because I know that that's what you all are here for. So I'll head on over to Profit Skew. All right, so I'm gonna log out. And you have to excuse my computer. If it's slow, it's because I'm on a Hangout. I'm gonna log into this account here. Okay, so there's two main ways that you can use Profit Skew, but it can be used in many, many ways. So the first way that I'm going to show you is to find profitable items to sell. So basically, you can take a page from Amazon or any one of over 300 suppliers. You can take a page of products and take the URL and paste it into Profit Skew, and it will scrape those items and compare them to eBay and find items that have sold that fit the criteria that you're using. And then you will be able to retrieve the URLs and know exactly what the profit would be should you sell those items. So I'm going to go ahead and do a search for, let's just say, Legos. I know a lot of you saw me do this on my tutorial videos, but all right, so I did a search for Legos. I'm going to filter out for items that are prime, only because of the shipping, etc. You know, trying to avoid the third party. You can do exclude add-ons if you don't want those, and you can use any of the other search filters that you want. Let's just say I take items that have four stars reviews and higher. And I'm just going to copy this URL that basically takes me to the search. This is like a search string, okay? So I'm just going to take this URL and copy it. I'm going to go over to Profit Skew and I'm going to click Create Task. All right, first thing, it's going to ask me what country do I sell in? I sell in the United States. Where do you sell? I'm going to choose eBay. Include the number of sales in the report, of course. Do I want to base my results on items that have sold only? Yes. Items must be sold within, I'll say, 30 days. No, I'll do anytime. Where do you drop ship from? You can type, or you can use the drop down menu and scroll down and find the store. Choose Amazon.com. What price level do you target at Amazon? Choose the buy box. What do you want to do? I want to find profitable items for sale. So I'm going to click that. And then yes to use Amazon's URLs. I'm going to paste in the URL that I copied from Amazon and press enter. Enter my fees. And what would I like the minimum profit to be? 50 cents, for example. And how many items do I want to retrieve? I'll just say 100 at this time. Each item that is scraped, if there is a result, it costs you 10 cents out of your available balance. If you do not get any results, the money that was put on hold for those however many items that you selected, the money that was put on hold goes back on into your balance if you don't get any results. So you only pay for items, you only pay for successful matches, put it that way. I can name the task. I'll say Profit Skew Demo Profitable Items. You can name this whatever you want. And you can add any notes that you want. Hit OK, and then submit. All right, while that's working, basically it redirects me to the screen. The task has already started. I can go ahead and process another task if I'd like. So now I'm going to go ahead and do an undercutting. A lot of people, you might gather sellers that you want to undercut. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Create Task. Select my country, eBay. Yes. Yes. Items must be sold within, let's just say, last 30 days. Again, I'm just going to choose Amazon really quick just to be easy. Target the buy box. And I want to undercut competition. So there's a difference between the two. One was finding profitable items from a search URL from a supplier. The other process is undercutting. And then you would enter in the seller's eBay ID. So I'll just do Green Team SI and hit OK. Enter the eBay fees and the minimum profit. I always go for lower minimum profit because I'd rather have more results than not. If you enter in profit too high, it could be that the seller is not selling at such a high profit, so you might not get results. So I'd rather get more results and filter out the results later. So totally up to you. And let's say undercutting. All right. All right, so we've got that one running. Okay, it redirects me and the task automatically starts. I'm gonna go ahead and create another one because everything that you're doing on the eBay side, I can also do on the Amazon side if I were an Amazon seller. So I know a lot of you that sell on Amazon, a lot of you use Walmart as a supplier. So I'll go ahead and do this with a Walmart URL. As you can see, I'm already starting to get some results from the first task that I did. I can click on this little eye here to open it up and view it. And you'll see that my results have started loading. I'll come back to it after I do this Amazon demo. So I'm going to go back to tasks, create task, sell in the United States. Where do I sell? So here's the difference. I'm going to click on Amazon. Where do I drop ship from? I'm going to select Walmart. And what do I want to do? I want to find profitable items. Do I want to use the catalog or search URL? Yes. And I'm going to enter in, I chose Walmart's, they have like this page for Christmas gifts, and I figured that, hey, it's that time of year, so I'm going to go ahead and search that. I'm going to grab this URL and paste it into Profit Skew. All right, what are my Amazon fees? 15%. And what would I like the minimum profit to be? I still do the same thing. And how many profitable items should I get? Let's see, I want 100. And I'll name this profitable items from Walmart for Amazon dropshipping. All right, if you want, and then submit. Okay, so this one is now going to take you back and go look at some of the other results that I have. All right, so from the first task that I did, where I was finding profitable items from Amazon, the Legos. All right, what you'll notice is that you have a target and a source. Okay, your target is the platform that you're selling on. So this link right here, target is over the source. So this is a link to the item on eBay. And underneath of it is the source URL, which is where you're sourcing the product from. That's a link to the item on Amazon. So I can go ahead and check this out. I can also look at, I love you too, babe. I can also, so you see here, it's only $38.44 in used condition, but the new price is, let's see, $46.88. That's the price that Profit Skew is pulling in as a source price. The target price is how much it's going for on eBay. That's how much it's being sold for. You can click on the number of items sold. Okay, and see when the item has sold. All right. Also, here you have fees. So this is the fee percentage that you entered in as your criteria. The profit is how much profit in dollars or pounds, if you're in the UK, that the seller is making, assuming that they're using the same amount for fees. So, this item here is about $1.50, and it also tells you the profit percentage, which is in addition to fees. So it's fees plus another 2.69%. So the actual profit is $1.50. And how many times the item has sold, it has that number here. It also shows you the images, and you can sort by any of these columns. So if I wanted to, for example, sort by total number of sales, I could double click this 2 times. I can click it 2 times. So I know that this particular Lego set is hotter than the first Lego set that I showed you. This one in particular has sold 39 times from this one seller. So at that point, all I have to do is check the item out, see if I want to list it. And I'm just going to close some of these other tabs so my computer doesn't get extremely slow. So there's the item here. And let's see, where is the source URL? So here's the Amazon listing. It's available from other sellers. So I click here and I can see that brand new, it's $74, fulfilled by Amazon. They're selling for $88.79. I know that they're making, with my fee set, they're making $324. I can come in and just list the item, and let's just say I want to list it for $87.99. It sold 39 times. I'm pretty sure it will sell. So, and that's how you can use this. Also, another way to use this grid here is I can filter out things. I know a lot of people were asking, well, can I see items that have only sold 5 times or more, or 10 times or more? Well, you can just type in this box here under eBay total sales, and you can type in 10, for example. That will filter out your grid to only show you items that have sold 10 or more times. You would just type in 10 and press enter. Okay, and you can do that with any of these columns that have a box here. All right, so I know that these items, sell more frequently. I can also then filter by profit percentage. I know a lot of people are worried about, oh, what about tax and things like that. I only entered 13% for fees. What about tax? What about possible tax? Well, assuming there was no tax, then this person made $6.86. But let's say tax was 7%. Okay, and if you know that the profit percentage is 9, then that leaves another 2% for actual profit for you. So it would be safe for someone who wants to assume a 7% tax to go ahead and list this item for less than the current seller does. So I would come in here and list this for maybe $69.99 or something like that, and call it a day. So that's how this works. Hopefully that helps. Also, when you have these results, there's a few things that you can do. You can select items, delete them from the grid, delete them from the results. If I didn't want to see certain things, or I didn't want to list certain items, I can delete them. You also have ability to export all of them to a CSV file, a PDF, or an HTML file. This is particularly helpful if you have a virtual assistant and you need to send them the results. I'll go ahead and export this to a PDF. As you can see, I requested 100 results. I actually got 100 results. So, this was a really good search here. But if I export them all to PDF, I just want to show you how this looks. You can do CSV also, it doesn't matter. So it will ask you if you want to proceed, click OK. Computer is really slow. Well, that's thinking. But the other option that you have is you can export them all. If you're a Hydra Lister user, and all you have to do is click Export Selected to Hydra Lister, it will open up a new tab. I'm apparently working faster than my computer. But it will open up a new tab, and it will open up Hydra Lister with the URLs already inserted and ready for a batch. Okay. Now, if you wanted to edit these before posting your batch, you can just come in here and click, do Control A to highlight everything, cut it, and then paste it over into the draft lister. All right. And then that would queue them for a draft for you. Other than that, you can leave it where it was on the batch lister, and then they would just be queued for listing, and they would go into eBay exactly how they are on Amazon.
Hold up, Amisha. Hold up. I don't mean to interrupt like this, but I hope I can't see how many people are in attendance, but I don't think we need to brush over this. Seriously, did you just understand? Did the audience just understand what she just said? Really, one of the things that many people got involved in drop shipping and other online businesses for were to gain their time back. And most of the time, we were taught that in order to gain our time back, we needed to have what? Automation. Or we needed to be making passive income, basically money coming in or services being rendered or what have you, without you doing a whole lot of work. Now, like just starting from finding the profitable items, which was really quick. We saw that it was done with sources that we use and we are familiar with. Everything came back accurately. But not only were we able to find items that can be sold onto eBay and Amazon from over 300, almost 400 suppliers, but we can take those items and automatically export them to HydraLister and then list them from multiple different listers within HydraLister 2.0. And if we take into consideration those of us who have Skew Grid, we know that HydraLister, after it lists the items onto eBay, it transfers those same items over to Skew Grid to be tracked. Like really, just sit there and think about how much time will be saved, from no longer having to do those 3 tasks individually and manually. Just think about that. And think about those who have thousands of items up. I was talking to one guy, he has 35,000 items listed. How?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah, and if y'all don't understand the power of this, and this is why I was saying, if you have all 3 of these tools, this is like 1 step away from complete automation. Actually, 2 steps, because you still have, ordering and customer service, but that's going to be handled eventually. But in any event, this right here, if you have Hydra, you can just export everything to Hydra and either put them into a batch or put them into a draft, or you can take them and list them individually with a single item lister or thunder lister. Whatever you prefer, you can do. And if you have Hydra and you have Skew Grid, so here we go with the other tool. If you have Skew Grid too, then once everything is listed with Hydra, it's automatically going to be tracked and repriced for you according to your settings. So I'm just saying, this is easy. This is 100 items easy. All right, so I hope you guys see the power of this. I don't know why my export of PDF didn't work, but it timed out. But I think I'm using too much resources on my computer right now. So, but in any event, you can export to a CSV or PDF or HTML. And as I said, if you do that, if you have a virtual assistant, you prefer a virtual assistant to list the items for you, you can hand them a CSV file or a PDF, and the PDF has clickable links to here. So all they'd have to do is click open the source URLs, grab them, and list the items. All right, so you've just found your VA 100 items. Now your VA doesn't have to search for the items for you. So, I don't know. That's increasing your ROI if you're using a virtual assistant as well. All right, so a few other things. I'm going to go back to some of the other tasks that I was running. So with my seller that I was undercutting, all right, it's about 58% done, and it's got 58 items. So I can click here, and you'll see the progress bar is lit and showing that it's about halfway done, but you can see these are like exact matches here. Most of them. Pictures might be different. But in any event, you can see that the source price, 136, that's how much it costs, wait a minute, I'm confused here. He's selling it for 136. It is selling for 110 on Amazon. So again, everything is still the same. You can, filter by profit percentage. Okay, I want to factor tax into everything. So I might say I want to only look at items that have 10% profit or more. That gives me room for some sales tax, etc. And then I can sort by that. I'll take sort this twice by items that have the biggest return. Look at this one. It's selling at 64% profit. Y'all don't hear me. It's selling a 64% profit. We got 56% profit, 35%. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all do not hear me.
I mean, like,
so,
not to cut you off, like this is what we have been asking for. This is what the community have been asking for a while. So before we move on any further, seriously, like we also have some questions, and Amisha did a good job, because some of the questions that came through in the chat, you were actually answering those questions at the same time they were coming through without even knowing it. But we have some other questions which are good questions, and we're going to get to them. But before we move on, I mean, like, I want everybody to just really contemplate this and give us some feedback. Do you think that this tool would be a serious benefit and an awesome addition to your dropship toolbox, so to speak? I mean, there are other ways that this tool can be used that will be revealed, in later days. But just based upon what you have seen tonight, tool will be beneficial to your dropshipping business. Let us get some honest responses in the chat box. Someone said amazing. Someone else said, I think what? Yeah, I can definitely see the benefits. Anyone else? I don't know how many people are on this hangout. Anyone else? I'm pretty sure there are more than just 4 people who see the benefit in this tool. Let's see. If you don't, just let us know.
Yeah, and
okay, you can see how it would be a powerful tool. Great, great, great. And it is actually powerful. Yeah. It is actually powerful. This is just scratching the surface.
Items, guys, 100 items cost me $10. And I just showed you items that were selling at 50, 60% profit margins, or items that have sold, 30, 40 times, for a few dollars profit. You can get a piece of the pie.
Exactly.
And this tool pays for itself. Okay. So it's super easy to use. This is my Walmart to Amazon dropshipping example. And as you can see, I've got some examples here. Let's see. Source is $79.88. On eBay, it's going for $98. Yeah, here's a higher profit one. The item is $229 at the supplier and $303 on, I said eBay earlier, I meant Amazon, I'm sorry. It's going for $303. This is a $30 profit item. 30. So, yeah, all you have to do is just go ahead and grab these supplier URLs and list your items. It's simple. I don't know. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now, I'll show you something else you can do. All right, so I'll go back to this. Let's say, I'll go back to this undercutting example.
Listen. I'm not trying to spoil it, but don't run away, Amisha. She get on this thing and she's going to give up everything.
I'm sorry. Look, let's just say
give her one more.
Okay, so let's say I've already have my criteria set. I know that this is basically a template that I want to use for pulling up searches for sellers that I want to undercut from Amazon, for example. And let's say I have another seller's username that I want to scrape. But that's the only thing that I want to change. I don't want to change anything else. Let's just say I just want to change one piece of criteria. You can duplicate a task. All right, so you don't have to go through the whole prompt again. You can just duplicate it. So you can do that from here by either opening it up and clicking on duplicate task, or you can be here on the grid and just click this little thing that looks like a clipboard and hit copy. That duplicates the task. Everything is still the same. I can just paste in a new seller ID and come down here and submit the thing. That's done. And then that will run for me. That's it. So, and also for those of you who are eBay sellers, I know you might be wondering, well, what about protecting me from being scraped by all these other Profit Skew users? If you are a Profit Skew user and you are buying $20 a month in credits, at least at a minimum, then in your profile settings, there's a place for you to go ahead and put in your eBay seller ID, and that will prevent your items from being scraped by other Profit Skew users. So that's extremely helpful, but again, you have to be spending $20 a month on searches. Do we have any questions?
That was actually one of the questions. Hopefully that answered the question, because the person said, let's see if I can find this, said, he pretty much said the same thing. He was asking, you know, with the cheaper barriers to entry, I feel we will all start stepping on each other, basically undercutting one another within the community. So that should answer that question. And I made a post earlier talking about the fact that as drop shippers, we need to understand that we are the minority in this eBay and e-commerce thing. Most of the people on eBay are not drop shippers. The vast majority are not drop shippers, and there are a few million sellers on eBay. So we don't want to be undercutting one another, you know, and you know, taking money out of individuals' pockets who are within the same community. It doesn't make any sense. And again, the developers and owners of these tools, they are drop shippers themselves, and they thought about this before you even asked the question. So basically you are protected just by spending a minimum of $20 a month to get these items. And as Amisha said, that's 200 items. Just some, I don't want, okay, so that's the question. I don't want to ramble too much, but this is some awesome stuff. Another question, are we going to go into question and answers now, or do you have something else you wanted to?
Well, I mean, that's it for now. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
It's just pretty self-explanatory. Also, one thing I do want to know, the process that I went through with undercutting, where I put in a seller ID, you can also perform that same thing with Amazon. So you just take somebody's Amazon seller name and paste that in and perform it the same way that I did with eBay, except for the fees would be different. And see what you come up with.
Okay. There is okay, so we're going to go into question and answers. Amisha?
Yeah. Bill says your fees, your 13% fees is what? Yes, that's approximate eBay and PayPal fees. If you don't have a store, they're 10%. If you have a store, they're 9%. PayPal is typically 3%, well, which is 2.9 plus 30-cent transaction fee. Rounds out to about 13%. There are certain people that have higher fees, but as I showed in the demo, basically just filter out your results. And you know, if you have some type of situation that makes you have higher fees than other people, look at the items that you get that have a higher profit percentage. And you know, you'll see that you have room to cover everything that you need to cover. For example, if you there's people that have PayPal working capital limits. Okay, so let's say you had one of those, and that is 10% that you needed to also be able to account for. In that case, really, your fees are about 23%. But if you put 23% in here, it's going to be hard for you to return results. Do it with the 13. But then when you're looking at items, you're going to be filtering out your results based on items that have 10% profit or more. That makes sense? I hope that makes sense.
Amisha.
And
Amisha. I don't know. I think our page are refreshing differently. But before you move on to the next question, I want to get this question out of the way. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I think it's what, Toddy M. Toddy
Uh,
M.
yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, Todd. Yeah.
Schaefer? Is it Schaefer? Todd?
No, Toddy. Well,
Todd?
Todd. Todd. I'm going to call you Todd for short. He
Yeah.
said in response to um, or reply to the question that came through about us stepping on one another. He said what he really meant was basically scraping or searching the URL. Let me read it. Well, what I mean is not so much our items. It's like we are all going to be searching the same URLs that will get saturated, won't it? So he's basically saying, like, I guess with this tool, just for example, just like we were able to massively list so many items or URL, I mean items from Walmart and the common stores, because we have these two, Hydra lister. You can scrape pages and throw whole batches of listings in it, and then list them. So I think what he's saying is that with the power of this tool, scraping the same URL, say the same categories or whatever, so it gets saturated, because say we got 1,000 members in Skew in our community that is using Profit Skew, and we're all going to the same category and scraping the same URLs. Like we competing with ourselves, so to speak. I think that's what he's saying.
Is that not what's happening? Like, I mean, but I'm just saying, like, most people still tend to stick with suppliers that they're too comfortable with, right?
Yeah.
And they don't venture out. You have ability to use over 300.
Exactly.
Right. So that's problem number one. Venture out, do your research, and find out which suppliers will be able to work within your business model and suit your needs. And heck, if you don't find any search results, Maurice, what were you telling me?
Hey.
I'm not going to go into it,
but to answer the question, but that's some good stuff. It's coming. We don't want to overwhelm y'all with it. But to answer the question, well, Amisha answered it, but I want to put my 2 cents in there and just bring this whole thing together. As I said before, the makers of these tools, really, I'm not praising these guys because I'm associated with them. People who know me know that I'm not gonna support people or things that I don't think is really for the community. You can ask anyone from previous dropshipping communities. I'm not afraid to speak out against them. But one thing that I liked about these creators of these tools from the very beginning, so much so that I turned down other opportunities, which probably would have had me rich by now, just to get with these guys, because our mission and we just thought the same. This is the reason for these stores coming out every so often, 5 to 10 stores at a time. And I will be honest with you, I was one of the individuals who went to them and said, listen, we're having some issues with some of our products right now. Why don't we stop adding these stores and work on those problems? And I know I probably just let something out of the Pandora's box, but many of you probably thinking that yourselves, and this is how I am. So they said, first of all, the developers are geniuses. They know what they were doing, so I had to step back. They were not going to stop with the stores, but we were going to straighten out the issues that were occurring at that time, because they see the bigger picture. Amisha,